Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the Bolt Here Spring, Ivan here. In today's video we'll be having a look at this Steeldive SD1953. You know, I've reviewed quite a few Submariner homages ever since I started the channel, but none of them were as affordable as this one. I'm telling you straight away, with a price tag of a little bit over €60, a good build quality, and a fully Lume ceramic bezel insert, this is definitely a watch you wanna check out. I bought this watch from the Steeldive store on Aliexpress for €64, but as you can see right now it is a little bit cheaper, 62.72 cents. During this video you'll hear me repeat this a lot, but hey, €62 is a really good price. I might be even able to get you some discount codes, so make sure you check the description of this video. Now, I went for the grey model on a Jubilee bracelet, but the watch is also available in a few different configurations. However, those are a little bit more expensive as they come with a new Submariner-like clasp. When it comes to the packaging, here is what to expect. The watch arrives in this plastic case, and it's overprotected not only by the case itself, but also by the amount of foam and plastic that it's wrapped in. In the case you also find the typical paperwork, such as a warranty card and a user's manual. Steeldive have even included one of these bracelet sizing tools, which I rarely use, but they can be useful, and this one even comes with a spare push pin on the back. I guess the best part about the packaging is that you can use this case to transport a couple of watches without having to worry about them getting damaged. Alright guys, now that the price and the packaging are out of the way, let's continue with the dimensions. It may not look like it, but this Steeldive is actually quite substantial. The case diameter is 41mm, the lug-to-lug is 48, but keep in mind that the bracelet end links are male. Then we've got the thickness, which is 14mm, and finally, the space between the lugs is 20mm. As I just suggested, this is a substantial watch, and sized for me, it weighs 152 grams. It has a lot of presence, and in my opinion it looks great on my wrist, which as you know is 17 centimeters or 6.7 inches in circumference. In addition, I find this watch very comfortable for everyday use. It's very well balanced, perhaps a bit top heavy, but that really depends on the kind of watches you're used to wearing. I would say the bracelet is the main reason why this watch wears so nicely. In my opinion, Jubilee style bracelets are some of the most comfortable watch bracelets due to their short lengths and great articulation. The one that comes with this Steeldive is surprisingly well made. It's way better than I expected. It fits the case perfectly, and all the links are solid. There are no screws, instead all the links are joined together with split pins, which is totally fine for me. Finally, here's the clasp. It's milled, it has 6 micro adjustment points, and it carries the Steeldive branding and logo. Design-wise, this watch is clearly an homage of the Rolex Submariner, and so I'm not going to spend much time talking about it. It's a classic design that I personally like, and the fact that anyone can experience it for just $60, I think it's going to be a huge plus for many people. In addition guys, this watch is very well built. It's made of 316L steel. The crystal is made of sapphire, but I don't think it has any air coating applied to it, as it's a bit reflective. The bezel insert is ceramic, it's fully lumed, and I'll show you what it looks like in the dark in a couple of minutes. We've got a screw-in crown here. It's signed with the brand's logo, and so is the case back. Watches in this price range usually have plain case backs, so I'm really glad to see that Steeldive have chosen to engrave it, and I think the logo is quite interesting. If you take a closer look at it, you'll see that it consists of a scuba diving mask, a couple of oxygen tanks, and a pair of swim fins. By the way, the water resistance of this watch is 300 meters. It's not only the build quality, the finishing is also pretty good. The sides of the case are high polished, while the top of the lugs is vertically brushed. It's nothing fancy, but everything here looks alright and there are no sharp edges. Speaking of sharp, the knurling on the bezel is absolutely fantastic. It is sharp, but in a good way, as it provides excellent grip. And since we're at it, let's check the action. This is a 120 click bezel. It's very smooth. It requires very little effort. The feedback is nice and positive, and there isn't much backplay. The alignment is very close to perfect. Mine is just a hair to the right. Next, let's continue with the dial. To be fair, this is the main reason why I went on and bought this watch. The grey color really got my attention, and now that I have it in my hands, I believe I made the right choice, although it's not exactly what I expected. You see, due to the sunray finish of the dial, you will see the grey tone changing quite a bit depending on the lighting conditions. It shifts from light to dark grey, and in some occasions I even saw some greenish hues. Guys, I know it sounds strange, and unfortunately I can't replicate it on camera, so take it for what it's worth. What I can tell you is that the dial looks good to me, the applied indices and the Mercedes handset are well finished, and the legibility, as you would expect from this layout, is great as well. I'm sure some of you have been staring at the Cyclops Lens and trying to figure out whether it's well aligned or not. Well, I'm happy to report that, to my eyes at least, it seems to be perfectly aligned. It's also very clear, and it has some very decent magnification. For those who don't like it, I'm sure it can be removed. And I say I'm sure because I saw one buyer's feedback on Aliexpress who had posted a photo of his watch with the magnifying lens removed, and it didn't look bad at all. Personally, it doesn't bother me, but it's good to know that I can get rid of it if I wanted to. At the very beginning of this video, I suggested that the Lume ceramic bezel insert is one of the highlights of this watch, and here you can see why. I believe what Steeldive has used here is Super Luminova BGW9, and it looks amazing. To me, it's really incredible that this €62 watch has such a good lume. It's evenly applied, and it's very bright and long-lasting. Finally guys, we've got to mention the movement. It is the Seiko NH35 of course, and there isn't anything I can tell you about it that you don't already know, unless you're new to the hobby. In this case, all you need to know is that it's a well-known movement that's been around for about 12 years, and it has proven to be very reliable and very accurate. It's a 4Hz caliber, which means that it ticks 6 times per second. It also has 24 joules, a power reserve of 41 hours, and a stated accuracy of -20 to +40 seconds per day. In general, the NH35 is a great performer, and its average daily deviation usually sits around the ±10 seconds per day mark. In fact, this one specifically is running only 4 seconds fast per day. Guys, something else that's worth mentioning here is that the crown action is really good. The crown screws in and out right away, and the crown stem feels very sturdy. Here I can see one of the gaskets that help with the 300 meters water resistance I told you about earlier. I'm usually quite skeptical about the water resistance of watches like this one, but in this case, I believe it might be true. Alright, it's time for my final words. In my opinion, this Steeldive watch is an exceptional value for money. It's very hard to believe that for €62, you can get a watch that is better spec than a €300 Seiko. I'm not saying this watch is perfect, the crystal could have greatly benefited from some air coating, and the bezel could be aligned just a bit better. But these are tiny imperfections that, again, for €62, I can totally live with. As always, this is just my opinion, so let me know what you think about this Steeldive in the comments below. This is all for today, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you can help me out by giving it a like. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing so that you don't miss any of my future uploads. And here is a sneak peek of my next review. So yeah, take care guys, and I'll see you in the next one.